Good evening, everybody. How is the floor is yours?
Assalamu alaikum and good evening, everyone. I am pleased to welcome you all to the College of Law session of the Graduate Studies Open House at Hamad bin Khalifa University for the academic year 2023-2024. My name is Khalid Ishaq Ahmed, and I am delighted to have this opportunity to welcome you all here today. I hope to find this event to be informative and it helps you guide you in your academic journey. I started my journey at Hamad bin Khalifa College of Law as a student in the Juris Doctor program in 2018. And believe me, I enjoyed it very much, and I joined the community of HBKU so much that in 2021, I joined the Doctor of Judiciary Science, SJD's program. Our session here aims to connect you with myself and the faculty member to explore the unique academic and research opportunities at the College of Law, and to learn more about the admission requirement and student affairs. However, before we begin, we'd like you to remind you that all lines will be muted until the end of the session. If you have any questions you would like to ask, please share them in the Q&A box, and we will follow up with the Q&A session. I would like to start the session by playing an HBKU promo video, followed by a welcome message from the university's provost, Dr. Michael Benedict.
طبيعة الدراسة في جامعة حمد بن خليفة أنها تربط المجال النظري بالمجال العملي.
دولة قطر تتبنى بخطى جادة متسارعة التحول نحو النقل الكهربائي المستدام.
Every college in HBKU does not work by itself. We are all working together.
Accessibility is important everywhere. With the World Cup, Qatar is sending a message that accessibility matters.
جامعة حمد بن خليفة من الجامعات المتميزة في مجال البحث المبتكر.
وجدت ضالتي في جامعة حمد بن خليفة. كل يوم أنا أحضر محاضرة أكتسب معلومات كثيرة.
My name is Michael Benedict, and I'm the Chief Academic Officer, or the Provost at Hamad bin Khalifa University, and I welcome you to our Perspective Open House. I invite you over the next few hours to learn more about HBKU and how it might fit your individual interest. But let me start you off with a brief introduction. Hamad bin Khalifa is a unique research university that is organized and mandated to creatively solve research problems that are critical to this country, to the region, and to the world. Problems in areas such as sustainability, public policy, human health, Islamic finance, cybersecurity, natural language processing, and many, many others. You will not find the typical departments at HBKU that you might find at other universities. Our organization is designed on purpose to be different, to be multidisciplinary, and oriented to addressing societal challenges. We are small and we don't try to do everything, but what we do is world-class. We are primarily a research graduate university with 35 different graduate programs, but only a single undergraduate program in computer engineering. Our faculty are internationally recognized for their scholarly work and are second to none. And by this, I don't mean just a few of our faculty, but I mean all of them. It is an extraordinary group of faculty you would learn from if you choose HBKU for your graduate education. We are organized in 6 colleges at HBKU: Islamic Studies, Humanities and Social Sciences, Science and Engineering, Health and Life Sciences, Law, and Public Policy, with a variety of multidisciplinary programs in each of them. HBKU is truly a global university with nationals, residents, and international students working together and learning together. There are currently nearly 1,000 remarkable graduate students studying here. With access to our state-of-the-art research equipment and guided by our outstanding faculty, you will be in the company of the best and the brightest students in your class, who are all seeking to become leaders and scholars in their chosen field. Our classes are not taught merely by faculty knowledgeable in their field. Our classes are taught by faculty making discoveries that rewrite the textbooks. If you choose to join us, you'll be working with these faculty. If your personal goal is excellence and making a difference in the world, please explore our offerings further, and come join us next year if you find a program that matches your interest. I wish you the best success in your future studies, wherever you end up, but I especially look forward to seeing many of you here next year.
We would like to thank Dr. Michael for that insightful message. Next, I would like to invite Dean Susan Karmanian, Dean at the College of Law, to share a few words with us.
Thank you so much, Khalid, and good evening, good afternoon for those that are in Europe, and good morning to those in the United States or Canada, and in Asia, good night. I'm Susan Karmanian, the Dean of the College of Law here at the Hamad bin Khalifa University, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to our virtual open house. Today, we will have the opportunity to learn from some of the faculty members of the college, as well as we're honored to have with us our JD graduate and SJD student, Khalid, who spoke eloquently about why he enjoys HBKU law and the like. We're also going to hear from, after hearing from the faculty, an opportunity to hear from the admissions team represented by Sabiha Durrani, and also to hear from our student affairs, Hanan El-Maki. In this welcome, I would like to put the law in perspective. Each day, events surrounding you are regulated or affected by the law. It could be local law, it could be foreign law, it could be international law. And indeed, just looking at today's newspaper here in Doha, the Qatar Peninsula, you'll see, for example, the important announcement of a 4-day humanitarian pause negotiated by Qatar, Egypt, and the United States in the Hamas-Israel conflict. Clearly, international legal issues were instrumental in enabling the parties to come to this agreement. The conflict itself has huge implications for international law, and our faculty are analyzing those aspects of the conflict as I speak. Also in today's paper, there were individuals arrested in Qatar for illegally trading in seagulls. So that means there are laws here in the country to protect wildlife, and of course the importation of animals and the trading of animals and the like. Criminal law regime, very important. Another big news was Binance Holdings Limited agreeing to pay over a $4 billion fine to the U.S. government over lack of anti-money laundering compliance. And finally, the Qatar cabinet approving regulation of certain fishing activities. You could read every page of the paper and pick up on legal issues that are important to you individually, or to your neighbor, or to our community, the region, and the world. And that's why studying law is critical if you want to be able to have an effect in your lifetime on your society. Given Qatar's unique geographical location, a trading hub, and in particular, the focus on sports, medicine, and education, as well as energy and the environment and infrastructure, the legal issues that the country faces are many, and at times they can be quite complex. So in 2015, the Hamad bin Khalifa University College of Law opened its doors under a strategic partnership with Northwestern University Pritzker School of Law. We launched the Juris Doctor degree, a 3-year law degree, which is a U.S.-style graduate degree in law, designed for students who have at least one undergraduate degree. So our JD students have backgrounds in engineering, biology, foreign affairs, medicine, and history. We've had military officers. Khalid is an architect. We've had a history professor who teaches at Qatar University, but he did his PhD at Princeton. And so the concept is to take individuals who are already trained in a specific discipline, and it could be the law, for example, but in all likelihood it won't be the LLB. It'll be another degree, and ideally they have some work experience as well, and then to equip them with the tools to be an effective lawyer. We teach our students to identify and solve some of society's most complex problems. You will not, if you come to the HBKU College of Law, be asked to memorize anything. Memorization goes back to when you were younger. Instead, we are intent on enabling our students to develop analytical skills. And particularly, we use a comparative approach, drawing on the common law, the civil law, and Sharia. And it's important to focus on this because we are probably the most comparative law school in the world. And it enables our students to see problems from completely different angles compared to, for example, a student that's only focusing on one body of law. So we develop analytical skills, but another important part of the training here involves the development of communication skills, clearly in the area of legal research and writing, but also oral advocacy. And I'm delighted that our coach for our MOOC court is here tonight, Professor Hilary Bell, because this is an opportunity for our students to become effective advocates. So in 2021, after our JD program had been up and running, we launched 2 LLM degrees, Master of Laws, designed principally for individuals who have an undergraduate law degree, although the International Law and Foreign Affairs LLM degree does not require a law degree. But we launched the LLM degree in International Law and Foreign Affairs and the LLM degree in International Economic and Business Law. Why these 2 areas? We sat back and said, these are 2 areas of critical importance to Qatar. And think about, in particular, international law and foreign affairs, given Qatar's engagement in mediation, for example. Or when we were preparing the LLM, Qatar was engaged in major litigation before the World Trade Organization and the International Court of Justice in The Hague and the like. And so it has prepared the next generation of individuals to be able to work at the international level in the public space, but also thinking of the business activities here in the country, and hence also then the LLM and international economic and business laws. These degrees enable the students, of course, to take specific subjects and courses in the defined areas, but also they write a high quality master's thesis. And then a year later, we launched the Doctor of Juridical Science, the first one in the MENA, which is a research doctoral degree. And through the SJD, we build a community of highly focused legal researchers who will reshape legal education in the Gulf through their own academic scholarship and their engagement in the legal community. So our alumni have gone on to very important positions. Here's just a sampling of where they have worked, whether it be in the private sector at Siemens, or whether it be in the museums, Qatar Energy, whether it be in the ministries or private law firms. And our alumni have also gone on to pursue Master of Law degrees at very prestigious law schools, including Harvard, Columbia, Georgetown, Duke, NYU, Toronto, and Graduate Institute, Geneva. I think anyone looking at this list will be quite impressed for a law school that opened its doors in 2015 to have its JD graduates pursuing the LLM degrees at the top law schools in the world. In addition to the academics, we have an engaging community with plenty of events and activities, lectures and conferences. And here's just some of our partners. We work closely with the United Nations. We work with the World Intellectual Property Organization. We're going to have an event with them next week. And we have our own Association of Environmental Law Lecturers in the Middle East and North African universities, which is a consortium of law schools from Morocco to Turkey on the teaching of environmental law. And you can see some of our other partners that are listed there as well. And as I mentioned earlier, we have opportunities for our students to participate in MOOC courts, publish papers, participate in conferences, and also our students have put on their own conferences and the like, as well as intern at local law firms. Now, if I could quickly discuss, I think, the most important part of the College of Law, and that is our very distinguished faculty. For my friends here, can you hear me okay? There is the call to prayer, but can you hear me okay, Khalid? Even though there is the call to prayer? Great. Okay, thank you very much. For those of you who have never been in our building, we're in the beautiful Education City Mosque building. And so the mosque is a floor away from my office. So obviously we have the evening call to prayer. So this is our faculty, and they have degrees from the best law schools in the world: Harvard, Yale, Oxford, Cambridge, to name just some. They conduct research in a variety of areas, including environmental law, blockchain and AI, medicine, healthcare law, the law of war, the law of cultural heritage, just to name some of the subjects. I would like to just take a quick minute and go through the faculty so those in the audience can learn about the subjects that they cover and the like. Professor Ilias Bentikas is an expert in international law, and so he teaches international law. He also has expertise in international dispute resolution. A very important topic is international arbitration, so he's involved in that. And he also has had a strong focus on criminal law. Professor Zachary Kalo has initially in his academic scholarship was looking at a lot at freedom of religion. But he's been also, due to the World Cup, he got very active in developing a sports law course. And he's now also focused on mediation, picking up on the mediation principles he's learned in the sports law dispute resolution. Professor Damalola Olowi holds our UNESCO chair on environmental law and sustainable development, and he teaches environmental law, energy law, and he also teaches an award-winning course on entrepreneurship law, in which the class plays roles in terms of a company that's starting up, is doing well, gets a little too extended, and files for bankruptcy, all through the course of a semester. Professor George Dimitropoulos is with us here on the line. Professor Dimitropoulos teaches in the area of international investment law, administrative law, and also law and technology. He's our Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, and he's also the chair of our curriculum committee, coordinates the Doctor of Juridical Science, the SJD, and because he sits on our graduate programs committee, has a lot of knowledge of the LLM degrees too. So he'll be giving us insights today about the SJD degree as well as the LLM degrees. Professor Eleni Polymonopoulou works in the area of art law, media law, and human rights. Professor Hilary Bell. Professor Bell is our JD coordinator, and Professor Bell teaches legal research and writing And also she teaches negotiations and works in the area of trial advocacy and the like. And as I mentioned earlier, Professor Bell coaches our moot court teams, and we've had a number of successes under her leadership. Professor Barry Solomon teaches tort law, and he also teaches constitutional law and healthcare law. He's our assistant dean for students. And Professor Solomon has been writing a good bit in the area of AI and healthcare. Professor Kalo Yip teaches criminal law, and she's also been teaching a number of legal ethics courses as well as infrastructure law. And she works a lot in the area of international humanitarian law. That is the law of war, and of course has been focused on the Gaza Israel conflict. We have two new faculty this year, Dr. Fatima Adish, who joins us after having earned her PhD at the London School of Economics. She has expertise in civil procedure and also in advanced legal research. And her most recent article has been looking at the way the courts in England are using family law and terrorism cases to perhaps promote an anti-terrorism agenda. And we say terrorism probably with quotes and the like. I don't know if Dr. Adish is with us on the line, but our newest faculty member who arrived middle of the semester, Dr. Kehinde Olowe. Kehinde, you're with us this evening, and Kehinde is finished her PhD at the Chinese University of Hong Kong, and she works in the area of commercial law, business law, as well as in international investment law. And we have Khalid El-Kawari, who is a lecturer on the faculty, who did his PhD at the University of Virginia, previously worked as a lawyer at Qatar Foundation, and he has been conducting research in the area of legal ethics, and we're proud to say that he's a licensed lawyer in Qatar. And so this is the amazing faculty. If you come to our law school, you'll work closely with them, and each in his or her own right is incredibly distinguished, but they're also very devoted to teaching students. So we look forward to having you in our community, and we look forward to having you join us on the journey to improving the society through the rule of law. I love this picture because it summarizes our degrees. It gives you a sense of the composition of our student body, the diverse nationalities. But we also have a large number of Qatari students, and that means a great deal to us because we're here to help build the legal system of Qatar. But this picture here has members of the graduating class of 2018. That's the first class to graduate. And then it also has students who are currently in their second and third year of their legal studies. And so with that, I would like to invite my colleague, Professor Hilary Bell, who's assistant professor and JD coordinator at the College of Law, to talk about the Juris Doctor program, or what we're going to call the JD program, and what it will mean for you. Professor Bell, the floor is yours.
I feel I've started well because I actually remembered to unmute, so I'm already judging today as a success. I was just teaching for the last 2 hours the second year students. I was teaching them legal skills, and particularly we ran a mock arbitration in class. And I asked the students, I said, I'm speaking at the open house. What will I tell prospective JD students about the degree? And one said, you will have the nicest colleagues, you will have a good experience, but no time. And one of the students said, after a career of 20 years, it's been eye-opening to me to learn how much I didn't know in the JD. I had 10 years ago, I was working as a drilling manager, and now I'm a COO of a large oil and gas company. And I had no idea how much I didn't know. I feel like there's been a black box that's life beyond what I know, and it's huge. And one of the other students pointed out that this is a real opportunity, which is very rare later in your career, to change your career. This is a real degree that can change your career at any point in your career. And finally, one of the students said that this degree represents excellent value for money at the level of education and opportunities that will be made available to you. So that's some words from today's JD students. Slide. Okay, so the JD, what is a Juris Doctor? It's an initial law degree that can be the first step on the path to qualifying as a lawyer. It can also be the first step on a path to change your career, maybe within your current organisation, moving to the legal team, or perhaps moving to the practice of law in a different company. It can also simply be a stepping stone to advancing your leadership skills in the role that you currently hold. So to be better at your current job, to gain leadership skills, communication skills, and the ability to put your daily life, your daily work into a legal context and understand the bigger picture that that will offer. The degree is designed for people to come in who don't know about the law. So if you don't know anything about law coming in, that's fine. We're going to take you through foundation courses to teach you the fundamental building blocks of the law. Then we're going to give you professional skills training. And this is essential for the degree for you to advance, for you to be able to take part in the third part of the course, which are the specialised target courses for the Qatar economy. Dean Susan has mentioned these. We look at construction and infrastructure development law. I previously practiced law in Qatar as a construction disputes lawyer, and you will be taught practical skills for what types of disputes arrive in Qatar and internationally and how to deal with them. You will learn criminal law and procedure from a comparative understanding of that. So you'll understand how the laws work in Qatar. I'm not entirely sure if you will find out about seagull trading, but if we do have a seagull trading in Qatar section in criminal law, I think I'll try and sit in on that next year because I would like to know how seagulls are regulated in the country. Energy law, what could be more relevant to Qatar than energy and environment? With the COP coming up in 2 weeks in the UAE, it's timely to think about how sustainability is desperately needed in the region. And Professor Holloway, who is the UNESCO Chair on Sustainability and Environment, will be teaching you about environmental law and also about oil and gas law and energy. Healthcare law, taught from a right up-to-date perspective for exactly what's happening with ethics in healthcare. How is AI influencing healthcare? Qatar has set out to take on a larger role in the healthcare market, and Professor Bali Suleiman is so expert in this. He's a fellowship at Harvard right now regarding his work on AI in healthcare, and he will take you through the contemporary issues in Qatar with regards to healthcare. We have human rights law. I find it hard to say much about human rights with everything that we're witnessing right now. The condolence messages that we're receiving for our colleagues on a daily basis makes this a very emotional topic. But to understand how the atrocities that we are witnessing fit into the legal regime and what can and should be done is something that you will learn with Professor Eleni Polymonopoulou, who will teach you human rights law. You will also understand about finance and global investment, media law, sports law. These are all essential topics for the region, but they are also highly interesting and relevant topics for today, for 2023 and moving forwards in the immediate future. With regards to student funding, there are a number of tuition waivers available for students, and these speak to the feedback from the students regarding the value for money, the incredible value for money that the degree offers. The scholarships are awarded on merit, and you will be, after you receive an offer to join the programme, you will receive a link to apply for funding. Now, there are only fee waivers available. There is no funding for students, there is no housing, there are no stipends. Just to be clear about this, you will receive a partial waiver, which will cover a portion of your fees, and you will be required to pay some of your fees. Any questions regarding funding, please bear this in mind, that this is fixed. There will be some money towards your fees, but you will have to pay fees if you want to join the JD programme. You will have to cover your own living costs and your own housing costs. I'm happy to answer any questions regarding the JD. And just before I pass on to Professor George Dimitropoulos, I'd like to mention the moot court opportunities which Susan mentioned. What's different from the JD structure, the JD model, and most law degrees in other countries in the world, is that we teach you skills and vocational skills right from the first semester of law school. And this gives you a huge advantage on students who are learning in a more traditional format where they're simply being taught the substantive law. You will be taught how to write better, how to give people advice, how to do advocacy, how to make an argument, and this will impact your daily career. The feedback I get from all the first year students is colleagues start to comment on how much better our students are communicating. Now, this semester, our students took part in a moot court organised by Magic Circle law firm DLA Piper, and our students were participating against 46 other teams. And those teams came from some of the most prestigious universities in Europe, in Germany, and the United Kingdom, including Cambridge, Edinburgh, York. Our students fielded 2 teams in the competition, and they made it to the last 4 teams in the competition against students in their 3rd and final year at UK law schools. 2 of our competitors were in their 1st year of law school. So when they started this competition, they had 6 weeks of legal education, but that included skills training. And that demonstrates how they were able to advance so far in the competition against students with much more legal education, because right from day one, we are giving them the skills to succeed as leaders and as lawyers. So if you have any questions about the opportunities regarding the JD, please field them in the chat at the end. I'm happy to address them. And now, great pleasure to pass you on to my beloved colleague, Professor George Dimitropoulos.
Thank you so much, Hilary. I really appreciate the warm welcome. Thank you so much, Dean, as well as Khalid and our colleague Sandia Moniz for putting everything together. For one more year, I'm super delighted to be here with everybody. Many thanks to our participants for joining. We have a fantastic offering, as you may have already realized, right? So we have our super flagship program, our JD program, right? This is how we started. You know, this is our origins, the beginning, in a way. As the Dean said, it was established by Northwestern Law School a couple of years ago. It must be, what, Susan? It's 8 years now, right? Almost, yes. Right. And on top of that, we've made sure to further elaborate on our offerings. So we have our JD program and we have our so-called graduate programs. Okay. All HPKU programs are graduate programs, but we use this, we differentiate between the JD program on the other side and the rest of our graduate programs. That is our 2 LLM programs, our 2 Masters in Law, and our Doctor of Juridical Science, the SJD. So we have, let's start with the LLM programs. We have 2 LLM programs. There you go. Our LLM in International Law and Foreign Affairs. This is a 1-year program that takes you through a variety of courses in the first year. And this includes 2 types of courses. This includes courses that are specific to the LLM program, okay, as well as courses that are taken from the JD program. So it's a great privilege in a way, because the ones of you that have an interest in this program, you will be able to, sit in courses with your fellow LLM students, but you will also have the chance to pick from a variety of both electives as well as core courses that are drawn from the JD program. Now, when it comes to the core courses from the LLM program, we primarily have 2. That is the research methods in law that are offered by our new colleague Fatima Adash in the first semester. And in the second semester, you'll have the chance to take a course on global legal ethics. Namely, we're trying to shape lawyers that are very well versed in methods, number one, and number two in legal ethics. In fact, global legal ethics, what it takes to be a global lawyer from many different perspectives, namely a global transactions lawyer, a global judge, a global arbitrator, an academic, etc. Okay. So, so this is the focus of the LLM program, and for the rest, for the rest of the credit hours, you will be able to choose from a variety of courses that are on offer every year and are mostly drawn from the JD program. Now, on top of that, you will have to write during the course of your studies an LLM thesis. And that's another great privilege of the program because it gives you the chance to work with a faculty member from HBKU College of Law, and you have experts in literally all areas of law, some of the best people in their fields that you will have the chance to work with. Now, in order to complete the LLM thesis, you have exactly 1 year, that is 12 months. 12 months from the day of enrollment in our program. Okay, I have to admit that sometimes we can extend for another 6 months, but under very exceptional circumstances. Okay, so that's roughly it. So International Law and Foreign Affairs, LLM. As the title suggests, this is a program that focuses on international law and foreign affairs. It's an interdisciplinary program. Sandia, sorry, still the previous one. International Law and Foreign Affairs LLM program. So this program allows you to focus on both hardcore areas of the law, that is international law, as well as interdisciplinary areas of foreign affairs, that is international relations as well as international politics. As of the last academic year, we in fact started offering a course which is a course dedicated to this program, specifically tailored for this program, which is an introduction to the study of international law and foreign affairs, both separately as well as in their interdisciplinary dimensions. And this course is actually offered by our colleague Eleni Polymenopoulou, as well as the Associate Dean for Academic Affairs at the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, Professor Steve Wright, who is actually an international relations professor, and in fact teaches case studies from the Gulf and the broader MENA region. Okay, now the interesting bit about this program, except for all the other things, is that it admits students who are not exclusively lawyers, right, as your typical LLM program, but it also admits students from many different other backgrounds, including international relations, international politics, political economy, etc. Okay, so it's a little more open, and in fact, we've been very happy as well as super proud to have had many students studying towards this degree from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, from MOFA. Every year, invariably, we have at least 1 or 2 students from MOFA. In fact, in the first year that we ran the program, we had, I believe, 4 students from MOFA. And the gentleman that you may have seen in the video of the provost, Turkey, he, in fact, is a very high-ranking, very senior official in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Okay, I think I'm done with the LLM International and Foreign Affairs, and let us move on to the LLM International Economic and Business Law. So the structure is roughly the same here. Okay, so you have a 1-year LLM program that has 2 core courses that are dedicated to the program itself. Namely, you will have to take a research methodology class, as well as a class in global legal ethics, okay, as well as different courses that pertain to the more specific areas of the LLM degree, that is economic and business law, and I'll get back to this point in a minute, okay. And the majority of the rest of the courses is actually drawn from our JD program. For example, I myself, I teach a class on global economic law and governance, which is, very important for this degree, which is offered in the spring semester. And you have the chance to specialize in the more particular areas of this LLM degree. Now, what does this mean, right? What does international economic and business law mean? So the idea here is for our students to focus in the law-related subjects of the international economy. And this primarily involves two main areas. Number one, areas of international law that have to do with the private aspects of international law. That is business transactions, international business transactions, as well as international commercial law. Okay. And the economic part of international economic law refers to trade and investment law above all. Okay, so these are the broader areas in which this LLM program allows you to specialize in. So international commercial law, international business transactions, international trade law, international investment law, international financial law. Okay. So having spoken of international financial law, I have had so far two students, I've supervised two students so far that have dealt with issues that pertain to cryptocurrencies and stable coins, as well as central bank digital currencies. Okay, so, and again, the most interesting part about this LLM degree is that it allows you to work with a faculty, a member in the broader areas of international economic and business law under their supervision, and work towards an LLM thesis that allows you to do a deep dive into all these areas. Okay, so this LLM program, let me highlight that already, actually only admits students that already have a degree in law, that is an LLB or a JD. Okay, so these are our two fantastic LLM programs, and I will be very happy to respond to questions later. But let us now move on to our doctoral degree. So that is the Doctor of Juridical Science, our SJD degree. We're super lucky to have Khalid here with us, who actually graduated from the JD program that Professor Bell spoke about. And then we have been very lucky to have in our SJD program. So what is the SJD program? The SJD program is the American way of calling a PhD in law. Okay, this is what it is. So it is a doctoral degree in the law. It is our highest degree. It's the highest degree that HBKU College of Law offers. Now, Professor Bell said before, spoke before about the JD. She provided a full analysis of the JD degree, and she said something I hope you noticed, which is very important, that the JD degree is a first and final degree. She analyzed more what it means to be in a first degree, namely that this qualifies you to become a lawyer. The JD degree, I'm still talking about the JD degree, okay? The JD degree is a professional doctorate in law. It's a professional doctorate in law. Here, the SJD degree is a research doctorate in law, a research doctorate in law. So it's practically about specializing in a certain area of the law, and at the end of the day, mastering it so fully that the university provides you with a title of a doctorate in law. Okay, so here the degree is structured in such a way that you have the chance over 3 years to perform very high level and intellectually demanding research. So for this reason, in the first year of the program, we have some light courses that actually build on the course offerings of the LLM program. So in the same way that we saw for the LLM program that there is a research methods in law class in the first semester and a global legal ethics class in the second semester, here in the SJD degree, you'll have the chance to take an advanced research methods in law class, okay? And in the second semester, a class in advanced global legal ethics. Now, a little footnote here, the ones of you that have not gone through the LLM program, in fact, our LLM program will also have to take the equivalent classes in the LLM program. Okay, that is the research methods in law class and the global legal ethics class. Now, a very special feature of this program is our SJD colloquium, okay, which is the get-together of our students. Okay, so it is in fact the students that design the curriculum for that class, okay, and they actually run it. For example, Khalid, who is here today with us, he's actually running the course for this very semester, right, Khalid? This is what he's doing. He and his classmates, they designed the course and they're actually delivering it based on their own interests, based on their own needs, based on their own preferences in a way, okay? But the colloquium is a chance to engage with each other. This is actually the reason why the colloquium runs all the way through the 2, 4, 6 semester, in fact, 7 semesters of study, okay? So there you go. By the way, the Doctor of Juridical Science, it's a 3 plus a semester program, okay? It in fact used to be a 3-year program, but the Ministry of Education actually requested in a way, you know, I'll put it, you know, kind of very broadly here, for all our doctoral programs to run over 3.5 years. But we've structured the program in such a way that students, if they pursue their studies during the summer semesters, they can actually also finish in 3 years, if they're very diligent. Okay, so the cornerstone of the SJD program, and I'll close with that, is obviously the SJD dissertation. Okay, practically the SJD dissertation is a book that you're going to have to produce by the end of your 3 plus years of studies. Okay, this is what it is. Now, the SJD dissertation needs to be representing original research and actually be of publishable quality. What we aspire for our students is at the end of their studies to actually have a manuscript that will eventually be published with Cambridge University Press, Oxford University Press, Hart Publishing, actually the best publishers. Now, as you may have realized, as you may know, HBKU is a research-based, research-oriented university, okay? And it is for this very reason that during the years of your studies, you actually also have to publish 2 publications, okay? So you have, on the one side, to focus on your research through your SJD dissertation, as well as publish 2 pieces of work during those 3.5 years. I think I'll leave it at this. Oh, by the way, for the SJD program, in the same way as for the JD program, we offer tuition waivers in the same way that my colleague explained before for the JD program, okay? So I think I'll leave it at this, and both me as well as the Dean, my colleagues, as well as obviously Khalid, will be super glad to respond to any questions you may have. Thank you so much, everybody.
Can I just chime in and ask a question, Professor Dimitropoulos, because you talked about having Professor Stephen Wright come into one of the LLM courses, this International Law Overview course. Can you talk a little bit about some other engagement that the classes have with faculty from other schools?
Oh, absolutely. As you know, Dean, that's my favorite topic, right? I'm kind of obsessed with this issue at the moment. We do a lot of that, in fact. I think we are as innovative and as interdisciplinary as it actually gets, okay? And you know, sometimes universities do use those terms kind of to market themselves, but we're actually practicing it. Here's 3 examples. In the LLM, International and Foreign Affairs, we have our colleague, Professor Steve Wright, who is one of the most prominent international relations scholars in the country, co-delivering the course, okay? And providing, you know, case studies, specific case studies from the country, from Qatar, as well as the broader Gulf region. He's in fact an expert in that. Another example of interdisciplinary teaching is advanced research methods in law. Myself together with our colleague from Georgetown University, Qatar, as well as adjunct faculty member at HBKU College of Law, Eddie Kola, we co-deliver the Advanced Statistics Methods in Law course. So Professor Kola, he's in fact a historian, and his primary affiliation is with Georgetown University, Qatar. Okay, and he's in fact a historian of law, in fact a historian of international law, and it's been a huge pleasure for me having the chance to teach the Advanced Statistics Methods in Law course, gaining from the insights of somebody who is, both versed in the law, but is not a lawyer. And I think that our students have really benefited a lot over the last couple of years that we've co-taught the course. Now, the third example comes from our JD program. And this is another development that I am myself, super proud about, and that's the following. We have a course called Law, Technology, and Intellectual Property, which is actually taught over 2 semesters in the final year of the JD program. Okay, so this course is again as innovative and as interdisciplinary as can be. It is in fact taught by multiple faculty members with both permanent affiliation with HBKU as well as outside. So in the first semester that this course is taught, it is actually offered by the dean and myself, who teach more classical issues that pertain to the regulation of digital technologies. But the real innovation here is that we've asked our colleague George Mikros from the College of Human Sciences to actually deliver a bit of the course, which is about teaching our students how to code. We call this bit Coding for Lawyers. And in fact, we just finished delivering that course last week. And I think the students loved it. So our colleague from the College of Human Sciences, our colleague from the College of Human Sciences, George Mikros, who is in fact one of the authorities globally in this new area of the humanities that the people refer to as digital humanities, helped students understand how to code, number one, as well as how to use large language models, LLMs, such as ChatGPT, to actually better understand legal text. Okay, now this course in fact concludes next week with a series of seminars offered by the World Intellectual Property Organization, okay, namely by officials of WIPO, which is the international organization that actually regulates intellectual property related issues. And in the next semester, we have yet another, a feature there, namely our former dean, Professor Clint Francis, comes back to our law school and teaches a mini course on intellectual property management. Okay, so you understand here that, we're investing a lot in trying to help our students learn the law from many different possible angles, as well as my colleague said, help them develop skills. In fact, not only skills that were important for lawyers 5, 10, 15, 50, 100 years ago, but actually will be important in the next 5, 10, 15, 50 years to come. Okay? I think that's
Thank
it.
you.
Feel free, my colleagues to chime in.
I want to go back to law school. Well done.
Same here.
So,
I think we have... sorry to interrupt. I think this is what we're actually doing. Most of us, we have taken the lessons of the stuff that we actually didn't learn, right? And we're trying to transpose onto this very law school since we have the chance to do so, right?
Yeah, shaping the next generation as well. So great. Well, thank you so much, Professor Bell. Thank you so much for Professor Dimitropoulos. I'm not quite sure who's going to be doing the MC here, Holly, but I'm happy to introduce Sabiha Durrani, if that's okay. And then Khalid, I'll let you introduce Hanan. And does that make sense? Sabiha, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Suzanne, and thank you, Professor George, for the brief about the LLM and SJD. I think next year you will see my face in the classes. I'm gonna go through the requirements quickly. So in order to have a successful application for the College of Law, you will be required to provide us with the English proficiency, IELTS 6.5 or TOEFL 79. And in case if the student is already he studied in English, his bachelor in English, then he will be waived off of the English proficiency. For the JD program, we will be requiring a GPA of 3 out of 4. The students who will be applying for the program with a different scale, like some of the students, they have scale of out of 5 and scale out of 7. They must provide us with the converted or the scale itself from the college. Yeah, we do accept like the any degree as mentioned for the JD, and for for both LLM programs, and we require Bachelor of Law, and we do require a GPA 3 out of 4. Sandia, please, next slide. Thank you. For SGD program, we prefer to students to have LLB and LLM with as well as the GPA 3 out of 4. I forgot to mention that for LLM and SGD, we will be requiring students to provide us with the research proposals, which is around 1,000 words.
Sabiha, if we could just go back, and one thing that Professor Dimitropoulos said, I just want to make sure it is clear that if you want to pursue the degree in the LLM in International Economic and Business Law, you do need a first degree in law. However, the LLM in International Law and Foreign Affairs, you'll see we have other areas in which you could have pursued a degree and therefore to apply. So you don't need a first degree in law for that LLM.
Yes, true. For LLM in International Law and Foreign Affairs, we'll be requiring like either a bachelor LLB, which is bachelor degree in law, or the field you studied in like international relations, politics, science, history, economics, business, and finance. Like things are related to these fields.
Thank you.
By the way, sir, I have to say that I have the privilege of teaching in my administrative law class both our JD students and our LLM International Law and Foreign Affairs students. It's a class that brings together both groups of students. I just love it. Our JD students are so amazing, and our LLM students are so spectacular. I've got to promise you, it's never been such a huge pleasure to teach as it has been this year.
Thank you, the professor. As well, the academic transcript and the grading scale, as I mentioned, we'll be requiring the passport and ID. Personal statement will be requiring also the 2 recommendation letters and research proposal, as I mentioned earlier, for LLM and SJD. And as mentioned in the slides, the deadline will be for the international students as 1st of Feb, and the admission for deadline for Qatari students and residents will be on 14th March. So if you guys have any question related to the admission, you're welcome to email me on the email mentioned on the slide. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sabiha, and thank you, Dean Susan, Professor Hillary, Professor George, for the insightful informations that I really encourage students to ask you whatever you need and to get a chance to join our college. And finally, we have Ms. Hanan Al-Malki from Student Affairs, who will be happy to answer questions on Student Affairs. But before we doing so, we'd like to present the following video to provide you with the insight of Student Affairs at HBKU.
قسم المشاركة الطلابية في إدارة شؤون الطلاب هو أحد الأقسام الداعمة للطلاب في جامعة حمد بن خليفة، والذي يسهم بشكل كبير في دعم الطلاب وإشراكهم وإخراطهم في الأنشطة غير الأكاديمية. هناك أنشطة رياضية، هناك أنشطة ثقافية، هناك أنشطة تعليمية، جميعها تكون خارج المنهج التعليمي، ولكن كلها يصب في النهاية نتائجها تصب في النتيجة التعليمية لكل طالب.
كل سنة الفرق عندنا عددها يكثر. عندنا لحد الآن 6 فرق رياضية، فريق كرة قدم فئة بنين، فريق كرة سلة فئة بنين وبنات، فريق كرة طائرة بنين وبنات، وعندي فريق فئة شباب كريكت.
احنا طبعا نتواصل في إدارة شؤون الطلاب من خلال إدارة التواصل المجتمعي وشؤون الطلاب مع الجامعات الشريكة الموجودة في قطر فاونديشن من خلال ما يسمى بالكارير سيرفيسز اللي هو الخدمات المهنية. قمنا في السابق في موضوع اللي هو المعرض المهني كارير فير. أيضا عملنا في السابق برنامج كان لقادة المجتمع، دعينا فيه معظم رؤساء الشركات وأيضا بعض الوزراء للتعرف على الجامعة وتعريفهم ببرامج الجامعة اللي تطرحها.
احنا بإدارة شؤون الطلاب نهتم خاصة في ناحية العلاقات المجتمعية، كتوقيع اتفاقيات، كزيارة الشركات الخاصة والغير خاصة للتعريف عن جامعة حمد بن خليفة، وتواصل إلى اتفاقيات من ناحية توفير فرص للطلاب أو للخريجين، أو أنك إلى شركات أو القطاع الخاص عندهم مثلا وجهات نظر كالتعاون، ممكن احنا نخدمها تحت إطار اتفاقية أو تحت إطار اللي هو تعاون مشترك ويانا.
Ms. Hanan, the floor is yours.
Everyone, thank you for the interesting information. If you have any question, please feel free and ask it in the chat box.
Thank you, Ms. Hanan, for the video that you have provided us. And this concludes our session, which will go now through your questions in the shared Q&A session. But if you allow me, please, before we join the questions and answers, I'd like to, as a personal experience, I'd like to reconfirm everything that you have heard from our faculty, that really it's a way of, you develop yourself. And one of the things that you will learn from our college is there's no more taking things for granted. It's always a way of, you putting your effort. You have to think, you have to encourage your analytical skills. And I remember Professor Hilary and Professor George, they always insist on what is your analytical analysis. Please don't just recite me what you have read. Just give me your input. Just tell me exactly what do you think, and step by step you develop your legal skills. And one of the amazing things that in our college that it's unique, it's the way that even when students think that they know everything, you always see new paradigm from other students, because every one of you is from different background. Some of us has science, some of them are very methodological like me, architects who likes numbers, who likes to be everything in a way it is black and white, where other students from different disciplines, they have a way of thinking. Even when you join the administrative law, I remember I was one of the first batches where the LLM students were with us, and most of them, they were from legal background, and we were from
the first, in fact.
Yeah, and I was having students from different background, and you see that this kind of, heated debate between the legal LLB students and the JD from different background, and how everybody look at it from different perspective. And it's really flourish your thinking and allow you to really to accept the other opinion and really change the way of looking at the matters. It is always, everybody has own analytical analysis, and it's always the one who can win. Okay, sorry I take too much time, but now we have a number of questions. The first one is from Al-Anud, and I think this is for Professor George. She's asking, is the research proposal obligatory to SGD's application?
Thanks, Khalid. Why don't you read the next one by Al-Reem as well, and I'll take them both. I have responded in the chat box, by the way, but you know I'll be happy to provide more information.
Sure. I think it's called Al-Alim. I'm sorry if I
Al-Reem,
missed
yes.
it. I am interested in the HGD program. However, I have a bachelor degree in law and a master of arts in human rights. Am I eligible to pursuing the SGD in HBKU? And he's thanking you in advance.
Right. Many thanks, Al-Anud, as well as many thanks, Al-Reem. In fact, you may have seen that I responded in the chat box. For some reason, you know, my Q&A box just doesn't work. So the research proposal is in fact mandatory for SGD applicants. You know, the application is incomplete and we won't be reviewing any applications. We will not be reviewing any applications without the research proposal. Because, you know, I always invite, you know, students as well as prospective students to think from the perspective from the person that assesses, right? Imagine, right? You know, you want to have somebody, you want to apply and, you know, be admitted into a program which is 99% about research, but, you know, we can't assess your research skill, right? Can't be done. You know, you need a sample. So the research statement operates as a sample for us to be in the position to know about whether you can actually perform a research of this very high caliber in 3.5 years, right? It is also our obligation, you know, because we can't be setting up students for failure at the same time. I hope you understand this. Now, Al-Reem, Al-Reem, I responded to your question. You know, it looks like that you're formally not eligible, right? Because in fact, our requirements require either, require an LLM or a JD, in fact, preferably from HBKU. In fact, if there will be two students competing for one slot and one of them has finished with an LLM or a JD from HBKU, in fact, you know, as per our admissions requirements, we have to go for the person that has the degree from HBKU. Okay. Now, having said this, I will be very happy to chat with you. Okay. Feel free to send me an email in my email. Also, please, you know, attaching in a way possibly your transcript in order to be able to assess about the extent we can possibly make a case to our admissions team about whether your master's would qualify as an LLM. Okay, there's nothing, you know, I could possibly promise, right? But, you know, let us give it a shot. Okay, so Khalid, I'll do your job here. Hadia is asking the following question. Is LLM International Law and Foreign Affairs open to applicants with a background in a BBA in digital marketing? Now, I have to admit, I am not 100% sure what a BBA is.
Bachelor's of Business Administration.
I see.
Right?
Yes. Another very borderline case, I've got to say that we have admitted previously students with a bachelor's in business administration. What we actually want to see there, Hadia, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, is that you have the ability to engage in a scholarly way with an issue that has to do with the broader subject area of international and foreign affairs, right? So particularly in your case, I should say, the research statement will be super critical, super critical. Please do invest time in trying to develop a research statement that is, you know, that will be in the position to showcase or to make a case for yourself, okay? But we have admitted people before with a bachelor's in business administration. We have.
We have a question from Maria. She's asking about the hours of the classes for the LLM, if if they are working a full-time job?
Right. That's in a way a more general question that pertains to, in a way, all our degree programs, right? Now, the truth of the matter is the following, that while our degrees are full-time degrees, there's no doubt about that, okay? The majority of our students in the LLM program, as well as most often than not, the majority of our students in the JD program also work at the same time. Okay, so you remember how my colleague Hilary said before, it is very demanding. You know, this doesn't apply only to the JD program, it applies to the LLM program as well as the SJD program. It is very demanding, and we do understand that, you know, most of the people that pursue the degree are at the same time working, but it is doable. Okay, we've been graduating class after class of people that have been actually working as well as pursuing the degree. Okay, all our classes in all our programs actually take place 4 to 8 p.m. Okay, most of the classes Sunday through Wednesday, but particularly for the LLM program, in fact, for half the semester, Thursdays 4 to 8 are occupied with classes as well. Okay, and in fact, in my experience, because I've previously taught the 4 to 8 slot, now it is thankfully my colleague Fatima that does this. People have always loved it. In fact, our students have always loved this 4 to 8 slot. Maybe Khalid did as well. You know, he may want to speak for himself.
4 to 8 is the best way, you know, to pursue your life.
Exactly. Before going into the weekend, right? What's best to do, right? Obviously, come to our law school and learn how to do research methodology.
Definitely, definitely. We have a question for Fatima, and I think she speaks to many students that she is interested in pursuing the master degree, but she feels that, or she's a bit anxious about the challenges that she may face, where because of her English is not that eloquent, and due to her studying Arabic as a background. So what is your advice? I mean, you, Professor George, Dean, Susan, and Professor Hilary.
Can we invite Sabiha again here to actually explain for us again what is the minimum language requirement for the LLM program? It's in fact, you know, a general across the board requirement for all the programs. But Sabiha, will you please remind us?
So for English proficiency, we require IELTS 6.5, or she can provide us with TOEFL 79. In case if she has studied her bachelor degree in English, the English exams will be waived and she can apply normally. In case if not, then we will still be giving her like a conditional admission letter, but still she needs to get us the IELTS later on when she starts studying.
Right. Thank you so much, Sabiha. Fatima, I have here a like kind of an advice here, because, you know, as I mentioned before, you know, I go into the classroom in my administrative law class, and I have students, you know, both from the LLM International and Foreign Affairs, as well as from the JD program, as well as, you know, I've previously taught the Research Methods in Law course. English language proficiency has got to be there. Now, if you want to ask me, the advice I would give you, if you're really interested and invested in pursuing our degree, just go ahead and, you know, do the little homework that you have to do by further improving your English. Okay, this would actually be my own recommendation here. I don't know, Dean.
I agree. Yeah, I agree that I think you will be required to write a substantial thesis We're happy to share some of the theses, with those that they're on our library website, and you can look at it and you can see the standard expected of the students. And this, it takes a lot to write the thesis, and you need to be conversant in English. Plus, in our courses, there's a lot of reading as well. So being able to read and absorb the material, work with it seamlessly in English is very critical. But you can learn that. You can learn it, but you have to be dedicated. If you have a certain level of proficiency, you need to be dedicated to be able to produce the written product as well as to be able to do well in your classes.
Thanks, Fatima.
Are there any other questions? I'm having a hard time reading the chat, so Khalid.
I think that's it, right?
Well, wonderful. If I could just say a few words of thanks, and as George mentioned, we have Sandia Manas with us this evening who helped put this together. Thank you so much, Sandia. She keeps her camera off, but she's there pushing all the buttons and making things happen. Sabiha, thank you so much, Hanan. And of course, let me thank Khalid. Your enthusiasm knows no bounds, and we are so proud of you and everything you've done in our degree programs and what you will do. And thank you so much, Professor Kenny, for being with us this evening. And of course, then thank you so much to Professor Bell and Professor Dimitropoulos for your wonderful presentations. And finally, thank you to the audience. I hope you will appreciate how excited we are about our students and the engagement of the level of engagement of the faculty with the students and the like, and why this really is one of the premier law schools in the world, clearly in the region. And we look forward to receiving your application. So everyone have a great evening. And I know tomorrow is Thursday and it's the weekend, so have a wonderful weekend as well. So thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good night.